Okay, folks, this is a rough storyboard for video 3, which is why does the model work? In the mock-up of perspective front page, this would go in H.4, so it would follow this logical sequence of get interest here, educate about the model here, describe how it works here, and then why does it work. That's what this one is about. Finally, this is going to be too long. We'll need to edit, but it's got the critical information we need, I believe. So we saw in the previous video what happens in the three-circle growth strategy process. You define the growth case context, estimate customer value, talk to customers, sort and draw insight from the customer feedback, and then brainstorm and generate growth ideas. Once those ideas are screened in step 6, all of that leads to the development of a plan and an execution program. But the question is, how does this improve upon current methods of growth planning? Why does it work? The reasons it works relate to tendencies or biases people have in planning and in judging others' needs. So here's what it does. The three-circle growth process focuses planning, aligns beliefs about customers with actual customer value, and integrates points of view. So let's consider each of those. First of all, in focusing planning. Let's say Sarah is a marketing director for a pharmaceutical brand. Her team's growth challenge is to meet financial targets for their brand. So what do? They plan. They analyze the situation, do a SWOT, and then are confronted with a wide variety of options that they might pursue. And within each of these options, there are more options. If we want to build brand awareness, there's multiple tactics we might follow. If we want to reposition the brand, there are many different ways to do that and many different bases of positioning. So it's kind of like this produces an infinite menu, which tends to produce brand plans, which are about 172 pages in length and not very focused or helpful for implementing growth strategy. This is kind of the norm, and even if your firm doesn't have a formal process or formal plans, your options may still seem overwhelming to you. But because three-circle growth focuses the team on a particular growth case and keeps attention focused on area A throughout the process, it allows the identification of growth strategies centered on unique value and competitive advantage to drive customer choice. The second reason three-circle growth works is that it aligns managers' beliefs with the reality of customer needs. There's a significant amount of research on managers which suggests that even though we may know our customers well on many dimensions, there are frequently gaps in what we know. And it turns out that in these gaps, there is a potential to grow. Here's a study from the University of Chicago in which researchers presented pairs of subjects with 20 new product or service ideas. Examples include a natural candy bar with no sugar or artificial preservatives, a disposable fashion raincoat, an electric powered car with 250-mile range, a rental service for oil paintings and lithographs. Now, they had participants rate the likelihood that they would purchase each new concept, but they also had them rate the likelihood of their partner in the study. What was the likelihood they would buy? This is just like a manager in a firm does in making judgments about new products. Well, here's what they found. People were not very good at predicting others' preferences. The big reason for inaccuracy is this phenomenon called projection, where they tended to assume that the other person's preferences would be very similar to their own. Now, you might say that this isn't surprising if the researchers paired up total strangers in the study, but they didn't. All pairs of subjects in 4 different experiments were husbands and wives. So even if you feel like you know your customers as well as you know your spouse, it's fair to assume you don't know everything. Their common biases or judgments of others found in the literature have a variety of names, but they all have in common the fact that they get in the way for any of us of understanding others' needs. So how do we fix this? There's 3 ways. This three-circle growth process includes both an internal step 2, where we do our best to estimate what customers value, and an external step 3, where we actually learn what competitors think. This contrast gives great insight into gaps in our customer knowledge. It will also help you develop benefit-based factor definitions that are specific and actionable. Now, we don't want to use service as a factor, but we need more specific dimensions. Dimensions on which we know how to take action. 3, in researching customers, we'll help you dig deeper into customer value. So here's a pan. It's got Teflon. We love talking about our features, right? But the question you got to ask is, why would anyone care? So we will ask why. And why all of that is important. This laddering process helps communication strategy a lot, but it also moves us from talking about features and planning new features to talking about and building growth by solving the customer's larger problems. Third, the 3CG model integrates points of view. Here are 3 critical strategic orientations, rarely discussed in the same breath. So it's kind of like in most organizations, there are 3 separate circles going on. In fact, in an interesting study from the Wharton School by George Day and Prakash Nedungadi, they studied how firms processed information and made decisions. They found a third of the firms studied didn't look too much outside and were self-focused. About another third were customer-focused. 13% were competitor-focused. But they also identified a fourth group of firms who reported looking at external markets and thinking in their decision-making about both customers and competitors. In other words, they integrated these external concerns. And these market-driven firms, as Day and Nedungadi called them, reported the highest profitability of all groups. In fact, bringing all 3 perspectives together, as reflected in about 20 years of research on the concept market orientation, shows a strong link of integrating company, customer, and competitor points of view to profitability. The 3-circle model takes the notion of integration to a new level, identifying a number of focused ways in which ideas for growth strategy can be generated. In sum, the 3-circle growth model works because it focuses planning, provides focus in planning, it aligns managers' beliefs with customer value, and it integrates these 3 important points of view. But what do we get from this? A process that keeps us focused on area A. But what do we get from this? Well, we get Mike Lenahan, who returns a cumulative $3 million to his specialty recycling firm. And we get Brad Wilson of the Archdiocese of Atlanta, CFO, who grew donations to their Grace Scholars Program by 70% in 1 year. And we get Brian Dean, whose family company made and saved enough money in one 3-circle growth application to pay for his EMBA degree and then some. There's anesthesiologist June Lee, who built strategy to grow her practice's business with the CEO and surgeons at the Regional Medical Center. Or Kevin Kelligan, whose 3-circle analysis in the $3 billion language services industry paved the way for 2 acquisitions and then a successful sale of his company. And finally, Beth Duncan, a senior executive who chose to have some fun with 3-circle growth and exploring how the band boosters could beat the athletic boosters in the concession stand competition at the local high school football games, and came away with a hearty increase in revenue. Well, there you have it. And now you need information about how to move forward. So, give Gary a call today, right now. 3-circle growth. Focus, then grow.